Islam Makhachev gave his thoughts on Conor McGregor's comeback and, surprisingly to some fans, had a pretty positive reaction to it. Islam said Conor's return is good for the sport because of the attention and star power he brings, and eventually gave his prediction for the fight. Islam also confirmed that he's ready to fight in August, although the opponent is still unknown. That alone has MMA fans excited because the second half of 2026 is shaping up to be stacked with massive names returning or competing. Right now, the schedule is looking crazy. Ilia Topuria and Alex Pereira in June, Conor McGregor in July, Islam Makhachev in August. Another detail getting fans talking is Conor's activity under the UFC anti-doping program. Conor has already been tested 12 times in 2026 alone, and it's still only May. For comparison, Merab Dvalishvili finished as the most tested fighter in all of 2025 with 14 total tests. After years of uncertainty, fans are finally starting to believe one of the sport's biggest stars might actually be back for real. Alright, let's see what Makhachev had to say.
We've got Conor McGregor making his return. What was your reaction when that was announced?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Big name for our sports, and but he have tough opponents. Max Holloway against Conor. I think Max can beat him.
When are we going to see you back in the octagon?
Right after here, I'm going to the camp, and I don't know, August, I will be ready. A lot of contenders, but number one is the young Gaethje, and we have still a couple more who won't take the belt, but I don't give no one.
Josh Thompson and Daniel Cormier just got into a heated back and forth over Ilia Topuria's resume, with Josh arguing that it might be overrated depending on how you break it down, while DC pushed back hard and defended Topuria's rise, in which we will dive in a bit. Adding more fuel to the spotlight, Ilia also shared a striking message online, posting a funeral-themed setup featuring photos of his last 4 opponents paired with a caption referencing the White House, a white rose, and a nap in its gardens, directed at Justin Gaethje in a clear psychological shot ahead of their build-up. Meanwhile, training stories around Topuria continue to add to his aura. Former champ Merab Dvalishvili recently spoke about sparring with him and admitted he couldn't take him down at all, calling his defensive wrestling impossible and praising how solid and difficult he is to control in grappling exchanges. In recent interviews, Ilia has stated that he is not planning to wrestle Justin, instead focusing on securing a highlight reel finish. Let's dive into what Josh Thompson and DC had to say.
His run is as great as it has been. It's been tainted a little bit because you've got the Volkanovski coming off the knockout to Islam. Then you've got Max going up to 55, having success, and then killing himself to get back down to 45. Obviously, we all know that affects your chin. And then fighting Charles Oliveira, who, you know, is older a little bit, getting a little, like, being chipped a little bit more.
That is that is the sound, Josh, of a person that is looking to poke holes into the resume of Ilia Topuria.
That's Josh Thompson, though. Sorry, man. That's a Josh
Thompson
feel. Yes.
This is a Josh Thompson type of theory, right? Because you're the guy that if we said, well, Ilia Topuria knocked out Max, but he cut off.
I know.
But I get it. I get if you want to find something that's not as great about anything, you can go find that. But at the end of the day, he still just beat back-to-back the 2 greatest featherweight champions of all time.
Alex Pereira's coach, Paulinho Cruz, made a notable claim in a recent interview, saying Ilia Topuria was around 90 kilograms, which is nearly 200 pounds, about a month before his upcoming fight. Cruz claimed that Topuria needs to cut roughly 45 pounds in the final 5 to 6 weeks before the fight. That kind of number instantly raised eyebrows, especially given how brutal extreme weight cuts can become in the final stretch of a camp. Paulinho spoke from experience, pointing out that weight cutting is often the hardest part of a fighter's entire preparation, sometimes even more demanding than the fight itself. He referenced past examples like Khamzat Chimaev, who cut around 46 pounds for his fight against Strickland, to highlight just how draining that process can be when pushed to the limit. He also raised the question of whether a cut like that could become a real issue late in camp, or potentially open a window for Justin if Ilia struggles to recover properly. At the same time, he acknowledged that every fighter reacts differently, and there's no universal outcome when it comes to drastic weight cuts. Despite the speculation, El Matador himself hasn't shown any visible concern in recent interviews, considering consistently saying everything in camp is going according to plan and that he's on schedule for the fight. Still, the comments have sparked discussion among fans, especially given how often extreme cuts have become a major talking point in modern MMA. Let's see how Joe Rogan reacted to the most recent weight cut drama surrounding Khamzat Chimaev.
100%, dude. He cut 22 kilos. Listen to me. He got 40-something pounds. They were making it so that he was going to fight Yuri Prohaska.
At 205.
Right. So he starts bulking up. And he's eating like a fucking animal, and he's deadlifting and doing all kinds of crazy shit.
He said he was 230, I think.
He was above that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was somewhere north of 230. And so then he's 230, whatever. And so then he's got to drop down to 85, which is bananas. That's so hard to do. He never got fat. So what happens? Well, your muscle gets eaten away.
Yeah.
Your body deteriorates. You can't recover. And he had a bad breakdown in the middle of the weight cut.
I heard it's horrible. Here, his brother today was like,
Yes.
yeah, we thought his body was going to shut down.
Yeah, so they took an hour off weight cutting, and then they went back. And he only had like 1.2 kilos to lose at that point, which is, what is that? Was that like 5 pounds?
If you're watching UFC fights, streams, or MMA content online, protecting your connection matters more than ever. NordVPN helps keep your internet activity private and secure, especially when using public Wi-Fi, traveling, or browsing online. Right now, you can get up to 74% off by using my link in the description below. It's fast, easy to use, and works across all your devices. One of my favorite features is threat protection, which helps block malicious websites, trackers, and annoying ads while browsing. And if certain content is restricted in your region while traveling, NordVPN gives you more flexibility online with thousands of servers worldwide. Check out NordVPN today and support the channel. Dan Hardy believes he knows exactly what went wrong for Khamzat Chimaev in his loss against Sean Strickland, and according to him, the issue may have started long before fight night. He suggested that Khamzat may have allowed himself to get too big for the middleweight division and left the weight cut too late, something that can completely drain a fighter at the elite level. He explained that carrying too much size into camp and then forcing a brutal cut at the end can heavily affect cardio, explosiveness, and overall performance inside the cage. Considering how physically imposing Khamzat looked leading into the fight, Hardy believes that may have played a major role in why he didn't look like himself against Strickland. Despite the setback, Chimaev clearly isn't moving on quietly. He has already started calling for a rematch with Strickland again, making it obvious he believes the result doesn't reflect who the better fighter is. Things got even more controversial after Khamzat posted, and later deleted, a tweet suggesting he didn't get the judge's decision because he isn't American. The deleted post immediately sparked backlash online, with fans debating whether Chimaev genuinely felt robbed or was simply reacting emotionally after a frustrating loss.
I don't know whether he's allowed himself to get a little bit too big for the weight class and then he left it too late to start bringing his weight down. But he looked a little bit reckless to me, a little bit frustrated at times. And that's... you kind of got to expect that when you fight in Strickland. Like you can't go in there and allow yourself to become frustrated by the way that he fights, because that's a part of the way that he fights. It's a part of the trap. It's a part of what makes you overreach and miss, and a part of what makes you want to always go first, right? Because that's another thing that Strickland's very good at. He's very good at standing and waiting, and you go first, and he leans away, and it's just such a weird... It blows my mind. It's so effective, honestly. But that's the thing. He's got a confident but a patient game, and a bit similar to Nate Diaz. You know, it's like fighting an inflatable punch bag. You can never really get a clean shot on the top end of it because it just drifts away.
That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.